Hi, Thirsty friends. I am Sherry and welcome to season 2 of Thirsty and 30, a blind leading the blind chat show on Smarter Love.
Hi guys, and I am Bea. So, Sherry and I have actually made the mistake so that you don't have to. And don't worry, we've got you. We're going to be your official researchers. Yeah, we've been last couple months.
Yeah. So, guys, today we're not live, but we do have Angelicopter. Enjoy the conversation. Angelica, thanks for joining us. Welcome to Thirsty and 30.
Hey, Bea.
I'm jealous.
Thanks for having me.
I'm jealous you have a wine. Aga pa dito.
Yeah, it's nighttime. Well, 11:30 there. That's not too early if you're in France or Germany. So
yeah, perfect.
Splash some orange juice in it. Pwede na.
Yeah, when we did the episode of Mind of a Man, a lot of men actually messaged me and was like, that's not true. I was like, maybe it is. Parang they were in denial with what Mo was saying, right?
Yeah. I got also a lot of men saying it's true.
Yeah, I don't know what he said, so he didn't tell me to listen to it. But I guess a summary. What was the most?
Essentially, he said men are animals, and they're really after just one thing. So you gotta weed them out and find out that they want more than just that sex. So essentially, that's it. Men are dogs. Period.
Yeah. But one of the things okay. That's true. Okay. I think one of the things we discussed in that episode was about the spark, because women are always like after this spark, or like, they want that like thing that you get in movies. So our theory for today and tonight is that women don't really want the spark. They want like a bonfire. They want like a lifelong romance that sometimes women have to be guided to do so.
So, Angelica, before we dive in our conversation, we always like starting with an icebreaker. So here's our icebreaker. Mo, your husband, he told us during the episode that he is anti-bachelor and bachelorette parties because he thinks it's like some weird free pass thing. Do you agree? Or are you pro the Magic Mike thing?
Yun talaga yung example. I think I know why. Well, okay. So if I was in my 20s, I probably would say yes. I'm pro that. I think we come to a certain age where we look back, and if we surround ourselves with the right people in terms of like similar interests and goals, you'll have a different mindset, or maybe you'll still have the same. So for me today, like, to me, parang there's other ways to celebrate a bachelorette or a bachelor's party, right? Because I'm not into the bachelor's party. I've heard nightmares, so I get it why like the bachelorette also is kind of, that's wild. But that's me. I know they have other traditions like around the world, right? Other bachelorettes party, what they do, they do something outside of like a Magic Mike show. They do something totally different. They do either wine tours, right? Like girl bonding without, I guess.
Hubad.
Walang hubad, yes. Like
walang
how do you
hubad.
call it? Like like walang hubad. Yun lang talaga. No nakedness, no strippers.
Walang striptease.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Maybe one day I will be on that team, but I am team Bea. You have to get me a Magic Mike when I get married one day.
Well, I
used to think I was. Yeah. But I feel like times are changing. I don't know if it's just a pandemic. I'm like, I just want something educational. I'm like,
educational? like I always say,
that's one trend, right? Like girls have like a night in and they talk, they bring like a sex guru or anything, but more like, okay, these are as you get married, these are the things that maybe, like, I don't know, 5 best kept secrets or tools, right? Tools that you can take into your marriage or your honeymoon night, right? Something like that, which I think it's very wholesome to keep your fiance or husband, future husband or future, wife, whatever, like, feel secure.
I've heard of this thing called purging also. With some men or women, I've heard more of men, where they basically do everything they are not allowed to do.
I think it depends how you view marriage, right? Those that purge view marriage as I think, in my opinion, and I could totally be wrong, and they could just use this as an excuse to go wild. That could be one reason why they purge, or the bachelors or bachelorettes. But I think maybe they view it as this is a trap. And I think if you come into a marriage like that, this is a trap, I can no longer do all the other stuff, all the other fun stuff. I think you shouldn't be getting married at that point.
Okay, so Angelica, just another icebreaker. This is something that Mo said that I wanted to get your thoughts on. Boys don't really like hanging out with girls. If they really like you and not just looking for sex, then they will hang out with you. What do you think? I have friends that ask to hang out. I don't think they want to sleep with me.
I think what he's trying to say is let's keep that in mind always. It may not always be the case, but the general truth for guys is, I remember him saying one time to me, they'll cast a wide net, and whatever they can catch, they'll, so cast a wide net can mean a lot of things, right? They'll be your friend, they'll be nice to you. So I always told him I never think anything of guys when they talk to me or when they're friends with me. I grew up with an older brother. I grew up with my cousins, who's just either the same batch or a batch older than me. They went to Ateneo, to La Salle, and we all lived with the barkada in the neighborhood. It was always even if I went to a super conservative all-girls school, Holy Spirit in Quezon City, we couldn't be the farthest from all the guys' schools. I was exposed to guys, and they were always so nice to me, to our family, so I never thought that they want to sleep with me, or that's not the first thing that I would think of if a guy goes at work or outside, go oh yeah, you need a ride, you need help, yeah, sure. But then at that time it's okay, why is this guy giving you a ride? In most serious, they're being nice until if there's an opportunity, that's when they'll make their move. And there's no opportunity, that's fine. They'll look, similar to us, right? We're I think he has a point there. We'll be friends with guys because we want to get to know them. But us, it's the get to know because we're, most of us, not all, maybe are looking for that romance, that bonfire, right? Their version of bonfire could be, sex. We just don't know, right? Yeah. So I believe in it. I didn't before. I was impossible. Until he's proved me wrong a couple of times, even even when I was already working and not single,
I agree with you, especially because I never really thought of it that way. When I think about how my motivation sometimes, sometimes I'm way too nice to this person. Is it just because I want to be friends? No, I have an agenda. So
yeah, an agenda doesn't mean bad, right? You have you can say you have a goal. I have I have something that I'm trying to look for. This is just the avenue for that or whatever, right? So
exactly. Yeah, I think this reminds me again of what Mo said also. He told us don't get drunk with boys.
Yeah, no.
That's super true. Because
that is
bad
if one piece of advice to our younger generation: don't get drunk around men. You'll never know, boys, men, whatever you want to call them. Or we're gonna get drunk. If we're gonna get drunk, make sure there's someone who's we trust that's sober over there. That's gonna look out for us. If at one point you think you're gonna get drunk, but it really. Don't get drunk with men. Us as a couple, if I have to go on a business trip, I'm not drinking.
Usually with our show, Bea and I do a 3-parter, right? So our first part here is choosing the right partner. Clearly, I think you have sound advice here because it sounds like you and Mo have a great relationship. The second part is we have a good old debate. Can women change men, and should we? And the third part is maintaining the relationship. So let's start with the first one, choosing the right partner. Women like to make lists about their potential partner. What should be on that list based on your experience? Or do you think we add unnecessary things there?
I think there shouldn't be a list. I made a list, and this is where,
What was on your list?
So I made a list. I forget, but I think this is where I feel the ate in me comes into learn from my mistakes. Okay, I married early because I had this list. I had milestones, I had lists, like, okay, I want to marry early, I want to have kids early, I want to achieve things early, like everything. I was just so impatient. And there was never a gray area. It's like, okay, no, yes, no, all that. Which I think, like, during that time, looking back, I've been advised by people around me that care for me, like, are you sure you want to get married early? All those things. And you're like, yeah, I'm in love. I'm like in this like whole, but yeah, that didn't work out. Everything on my list was checked, but then after the fact, it was like, what is all these things that I've unraveled, right? Like, so that's why, to me, I'm biased to say you shouldn't have the list. I think your end goal, or if you're making a list, it's a list of what you want for yourself to achieve, like in your life, like what those milestones are. And as you're, as you try to get to reach your goals, if someone comes along the way, and what's the beautiful thing about that is, like, they're headed the same direction, I think it'll be easier for you. So no list, do you, like, focus on you, and I think it'll happen, like, whether or not, whatever that partner, or maybe eventually you'll be like, I don't want a partner, I don't want to get married, maybe I'll have relationships, but maybe I don't want to get married. So we can normalize not getting married or having a partner even.
I like that. That's like a very different way of. People usually thought, like, pray for this, ask for that, make a list. But this is like the first time I've heard it. Like, make a list for yourself, like, what you want to do, which I think is perfect.
Because I feel like I feel like, well, we, meaning me, we have now this responsibility of, like, sharing, like, you just really have to focus on you. I think don't feel like you need someone to be complete. It'll happen. And I believe in the prayer stuff. Like, I don't bring it up often, maybe in these calls, but see, that's my thing. Like, I'm just trying to be more generic, but I believe in praying for things too. But I'm not praying for, like, God help me find, like, the dream guy, or, I wasn't like that. It was, my prayers are like, I hope, I'm just truthful and authentic, and I can be the best mom I can be, all those things. It's really, it's never a grand prayer, to be honest.
You know what? When I met you on the first Zoom call we had, and then this, like, you just have a level of, like, calmness that I don't know if this is, like, it's so good. Like, I think it's so rare to meet people that don't have much anxiety. Like, I think it's good. But you did mention, like, that you got married really young, or, like, people were advising you against that, and you said, oh, I was so in love. Do you believe that the spark is necessary? Because some women are, like, so obsessed with it, like, oh, like, you locked eyes and then there's that chemistry. Do you think that's necessary, or it's just one factor?
The spark is not a thing, right? It's something you create. It's something that you can have that spark today if you want to. You can have that spark tomorrow. You can have that spark every day if you want to, if you can, if your schedule allows it, right? If the reality of your life allows it. We just need to kind of bring everyone back to reality. Like, dude, trust me. Once you get married, once you have a family, that spark is up to you and up to your husband, and you're going to have to commit to it. It's not like, oh, I love him, I'm going to get married, I love her, I'm going to be with her forever, I'm going to get married, and everything's going to be okay. No, it's not. Like, who are you kidding? It's work, it's a choice, and trust me, it's not always going to be sparky, because I want the spark every day. Do I make an effort to have that spark every day? No, I'm going to be honest. No, like, I know I can. I know maybe I should. Like, I think Mo will be even so much more happier in our relationship, but I really cannot. Like, I cannot, like, because there's chores, there's children, there's work. So in your little pieces, in your little moments, you can create that spark, and that spark can be as simple as you're on the couch, you're holding hands, he's on his phone, I'm on my phone, and you just go, hey, babe, I love you. That can be that spark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want that. So speaking of wanting things, us women, we tend to really romanticize. Oh, Bea is gone. Romanticize relationships and dating. I think that's why we're so obsessed with the spark. So, what do you think are the common mistakes that women make in dating, and how can we avoid them? Because Bea and I are 31, we're single, and it's hard to date.
I think it's for me at least. It was like, oh, best foot forward, not like me.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's hard. You might lose yourself when you do that. So I think that's one of the things. At least for me, I want to be comfortably me, make mistakes. If I'm, say something wrong grammar, if I say something stupid, the person that I'll be with will be okay with it and correct me and laugh with me about it, right? Those are the things, right? So just I think like if you can be your like authentic self around your friends. And another common mistake, I think, is like those friends that we get along with that we're not like romantically attracted to, but we super get along with. Yung mga na friend zone, we forget that they might actually be a good person to consider to date. So don't always look for the type. Like you have a type, like some people have a type, right? Oh, I want this guy. Kaya madami silang na friend zone. But you don't realize who do you hang out with more often? Yung mga na friend zone mo, diba? So why wouldn't you want to hang out with them for a longer period of time? I don't get it because wala yung spark.
So it's just really keeping yourself open.
Yeah. Wala yung spark that you've concocted in your mind that this guy is gonna sweep you off your feet.
Shari was
because there's
giving
that
me this
comfortable
exact
guy
advice because she was there was someone I was like virtually seeing for a while, and the way we met, like we've seen each other a few times, like maybe in the 3 years twice in the same country.
Yeah.
And the first instance was like so amazing and the second was amazing, but Shari was like, you gotta keep your mind open because this has been going on for so long, and you have to find other people in your perimeter that are actually nice to get to know and that are not like this. I don't know what you were calling it, Shari, but basically you were like, tama na.
I think it's because my theory is when you have experiences like that, even if it's not working now, you look back. And then when you look back at things, you romanticize. You have this montage in your head. It was amazing. But then you forget the reality. Like, how's this guy now? It's really like polar opposites, maybe. And I don't know, not on polar opposites, but very different.
Yeah, and dating is getting to know. Dating is, for me, not like spark or whirlwind. I think like the wild romanticized stuff, like they have Tinder for that, like for if you're more like, okay, my wild fantasies are like a lot of like hookups and sex. Okay, go to Tinder. My wild fantasies is like traveling with the most gorgeous. Well, yeah, we'll look for guys that want to travel and stuff. But again, like back to like, what do you want? Like, do you want a relationship long term, or do you want just someone that you want to date, right? And I think, guys, they have, I hate to say this, but I guess portrayed, or like that common saying, like, the guys like have like those girls that they date, and then those girls that they take home to their mom, and that's the one, right? Maybe we kind of have to look at it that way too, right? What am I like? Where am I in my life right now? What type of partner am I looking for? Is it the, hey, mom and dad, this is the one, or is it like, I'm not sure for now, so I'm like, feeling it out. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
This one's a hot topic for me because I'm really curious about men. What are your thoughts on hot and cold men? Because I've had this experience, like, I'm a stable person. Like, kahit may earthquake, wala pa rin akong reaction. I'm like, don't go through the highs and the lows. Like, maybe sometimes, but it's really like an
rare
inch of move. But men, they go either super hot, like, they really want it, and then out of nowhere they're just like cold, and or against commitment. And I wonder what your experiences with this, and how to handle it, because I would just like to
Well,
meet someone, stable.
okay, so hot and cold men know that like you're not the only woman they're talking to unless they're fully committed to you. So when they go cold, they're talking to someone else.
Yes.
That's it. That's
Agreed.
the simple truth.
Oh my
Yeah.
god,
That's so great.
make me a
Ladies,
post-it
listen.
note, and I'm putting it
Listen.
on my
Speaking of
Yeah.
another hot topic, Angelica, like Bay was telling you about our guest last week, right? So his
Yeah.
advice was wait 21 dates, not days, until before you become intimate with somebody. What do you think? What are your thoughts on waiting as long as you can before having sex with someone? If you are serious about them and you wanna, this is the
Oh, if you're
marriage kind of
serious,
guy. Serious.
this is really hard, right? Because there's
Mm,
like what has happened, what I've done, what my thoughts are, and what like my morals tell me, and okay, okay. So the situation is you're dating someone, you really like them, you think this is the guy, so you wanna like that's the situation, right? Not you're in
yes.
high school, not you're 20, and
No,
okay.
no, no, no. Not now. You just want to go have fun. This is it. Level.
um, it to me, okay. There's two things, right?
Mm.
If definitely wait if you can for as long as you can, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's something. Okay, this is where like my beliefs like start like being conflict. But I want to. But my beliefs are not your beliefs. So this is what I'm gonna say.
Mm-hmm.
You have to try on the dress before you buy it. Okay, if you're gonna get into the final decision, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what the other guest was advising is like better to wait it out, because like if you see that this is something special, right, that it's going to lead to something that's like your forever, and I
Mm-hmm.
do that because there's really nothing forever. um uh yeah, I think it'll be very romantic. I think it will be more meaningful, but don't wait until like honeymoon night, I think.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying,
Wait.
I guess. Yeah.
Wait a
Yeah.
little bit. So I think people said that 21 dates is just way too much. I think like mga 10 maybe. That's kind of a lot.
Depend.
But I mean, balance it out, guys. We can't really give a number. Pero
I guess depende sa hormones mo.
I know. I mean, we've been trapped for a long time, so we really don't know anymore.
Yeah, that's
Go.
yeah. 21 dates like in 2019 could be equivalent to 5 in 2022. So I don't know
Exactly.
really. Um,
Exactly.
but I think his point is, maybe, I don't know, I'm putting words into whatever he said, but to me it would be, if you did wait, um, I think it will be more special.
Mm-hmm.
It also gives you a pretty good insight on how the guy will be when it comes to that piece of your relationship, right? Like, are they gonna be okay? So this is gonna be churchy. So what I learned naman in church is, and it was so nice that the pastor said that, like, the men should take cues from the women, right? Because the pastor was saying before, like, what's okay, right? What's okay in bed and not. Literally, like, it's one of those like church sessions where the pastor's like, okay, if you have children here, then like let them out, and then like he wouldn't start until the kids were all out. And then some
Yeah.
parents were like, oh, teenagers, like, no, I'm telling you, like, let them out because we're gonna talk about something right now. And it was taken like, I can't believe, and I forget what it was. I wish I could bring it here, but it was like there's actually something in the passage about sex in the Bible. I had no clue. Like, I've been like going to Catholic schools like all my life. I had no clue, and it was like they broke it down. So, and that was kind of refreshing to me to also hear that was the belief that, okay, the men should take cues from women on what's okay and what's not okay, right? How far do you go? Like, literally, I'm thinking, like, if your wife says it's okay that you know, like she's comfortable with anal, then I guess we're going anal. Like, it's one of those, like,
exactly.
you can do that.
I got
Really,
it. Yeah.
for being super graphic.
It's okay.
I was like, okay, so I think the waiting part is a good kind of like indicator for you. So So indicator within the relationship. Do you have to wait 21 dates? I don't know, really. It really depends on the relationship too. Like, what if you're in a long distance relationship, right? And you've been, traveling back and forth and only seeing each other like every now and then. Like, it depends on the situation. Always just know what the intention of your decision or your action is.
Right. Intention is super important. I think, again, we'll go back to your husband. He also said something about waiting as long as you can, because because that's a way that you can gauge the intention of a man's intention, because usually they just want sex, but if they're patient enough, it means they want more than just sex. So to our listeners,
That
just trust your
doesn't
gut,
mean
I guess.
that's what we did. Okay. So I'm just saying, like, we're just learn from our experience. But
So that's not what you did. You guys didn't wait, or right?
I mean, like, wait in what sense? No, we didn't. We didn't.
We can cut this part out if you want.
Give
I'm
me hope.
curious.
No, it's fine. Like, we didn't. Like, I'm not. Hello, like, we have Amsterdam before we got married, so obviously everyone knows that we didn't wait for marriage to do that. But in terms of like when we were dating, no, we didn't. And it was just one of those things that we were lucky to be able to like power through everything else. Like, because he was coming from like a failed and very rough breakup, and I was too, right? But we were friends. If we, it was one of those things like. We were always like, okay, and during that time that we started dating, it was like Rihanna's song, "We Found Love in a Hopeless Place." Like, oh my God, every time we would like Vespa around New York, I was like, damn, like we really found each other, like when we were down, like. But the scary part of that's like, did we just stay together? Like for me before, like in my like, are we staying together because we're like both broken? To be honest, like I was thinking like, wow, like should I date other guys, and like should he date other women? It was that. But I think because we were also friends, like friends, like on the radio, we were working together. He made me laugh, like, and I didn't care if like I didn't care if I didn't care, like, I mean, like I wasn't afraid if my opinion was different than his, right? So it was one of those things. Oh, okay. I don't always have to be on the same page with this guy. I mean, we can debate it out, but it's just one of those things. So luckily, luckily we stayed together. We chose each other.
Kinikilig na naman ako. Ayoko na naman. There's always we had another couple, Mark and Patty, that they said that they also were like in the state of like fuck love. That they found each other. And it can happen, of course. But someone was telling me this, like my uncle was giving me love advice as usual. They always try to ask me what's going on with my love life, and then they try to digest, and then they try to give me advice. And last night he was saying that I think this whole situation about being friends and in a broken place is something that probably I went through. And then he said, you're always available, kasi. And I always hear this, you shouldn't be available all the time.
Yes, my uncle would tell me that before, and I didn't.
What do you think? What do you think about this? Help me have a little bit
if you're always available, now I get it. If you're always available, you'll be the reserve.
Oh, somebody type that down. Repeat that. If you're always available, you'll be the reserve.
You'll be the reserve. Guys are like that. Like, yeah, guys. Not all guys don't hate me, but you guys know. But yeah, I didn't get that. My uncle, when I had my first boyfriend, like after prom, and that, like, just thinking long distance relationship, and then like, why are you always like make yourself available to him? Dapat hindi ka available. And this is like President CEO of Chevron Philippines. Like, hindi ako nakikinig sa kanya.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, oh my God, dito pa, it's so true.
It's so funny when all the
value yourself. Yeah. Like your time is like, hell no. Okay, you don't want to talk to me today. Guess what? I'm talking to another guy too.
Tama. Oh my gosh, yes. Yes.
Why are you waiting on your phone? Why are you waiting for him? There are other guys too. Unless you you've agreed to be in a committed relationship, stop committing yourself to him and your time to him or her or whoever that person is.
Tama
Si
yan, tama
Bea.
yan.
Tama. Bea. Tama yan.
No, this is not just for me, okay?
No,
I
I'm saying it's for women in general. Bea, this is right. We need to make a poster of this.
yeah. I think
You're,
this is
you're
something
so
everyone needs
guilty.
to
You're so
hear.
defensive. It's not just me. I mean, Bea, listen.
No, but it's true. Like, I wish I listened. No, but I'm like, oh, hey, no. But I get now why they say that. So it's funny that you brought it up. It was your uncle. See, that's a man's point of view. When your uncle cares about you and advises, that's golden. He's telling it from a guy's perspective. He knows. He just doesn't want to say it that way. Reserva ka lang yan.
Gosh,
Okay,
you have to listen.
we're gonna put that as a wallpaper, banner, whatever it is, to remind, tattoo it on your body.
Yeah.
Okay, this one's another kind of, I guess there's a lot of hot topics here because men are a hot topic. We love them, but we hate them too. And one of isa lang naman ang first boyfriend ko. My first boyfriend.
What my first boyfriend?
Dami.
Sabay.
Okay, so my first boyfriend, he was very quirky. I would say it's a polite word to put it. But he had this tendency, I had this notion that when I met him, the connection was so great, but everything else I didn't like. The lifestyle, all this stuff, the way he dressed. And so I tried to change him. And what I did is I threw his beanie that he loved and I replaced it with a new one. And I guess my question is, can women change men? I mean, I was really immature then. But do you think it's possible?
I mean, if it's style, you can influence the style. That's superficial. Them, like as a person, that you can't, because that's ingrained. That comes from how they were raised, what their experience was, who their friends are, how their family. That's just something that doesn't change. Now, look at yourself, right? What are the things that you can't change? Can you change? Like, will you actually change yourself for someone else? Probably not. I'm still going to be like opinionated, assertive me. Now, will I hold my tongue every now and then on certain topics, and choose my battles when it comes to marriage or, where will the kids sleep tonight or whatnot? Yeah, I'm going to make those decisions. But did it change me as a person? It did not. It's just like, okay, I care and love this person so much. Love this person so much that I'm willing to take a step back on certain things, right? But no, you can never change another person. And I think like we as women, like the nurturing side of us naturally come and go, like see this thing, like, oh, I'm gonna fix it. I am gonna be the one. Like, and especially when you hear that they had like this past relationship or this broken thing, or they're sad, like, oh, come here, I'll take care of you, I'll be the one, and then I'll change you, you'll be better because of me. No.
Why do you think we are so obsessed as women, so obsessed with changing men? If oh my god, I see a broken bad boy, I can make him the good boy marrying type,
I don't know. I think there I forget, like when I was talking to my therapist before, she coined that term. There's something in us that makes us do that. Like there's actually there is, I forget what it is. I should have looked it up before this, but we're trying to like be the hero in their life, right? It's seen a lot more in women when it comes to that piece, right? Guys are more like, fix it. There's a problem, fix it. So they're not being emotional. Whereas we're so in tune with our emotions. That's just how we're built. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. Basic stuff like that. We're inclined to do that. Now we need to remind ourselves that's not our job, because if we fall into that pit, then that's going to be our job for the rest of our lives, because they're never changing for you,
Exactly. Agreed.
Yeah.
I think Bea disappeared again. So clearly, like, have you ever had experience though that you tried changing somebody, or somebody tried changing you?
Yeah. Just for example, just between Mo and I, like he tried changing me. I think not intentionally, and I've tried changing him. and then it's not going to happen, right? Like, I think
Right,
he's
yeah.
more of like an introvert and stay at home and all that stuff, but he knows I'm social, that, yeah, we're going to have to go out at one point, like when we were
Mm-hmm.
dating and stuff. We can't just stay here. I was like, I'm going to leave you, I'll go out and you stay home.
Yeah.
So he'll go out with me, but do I take him in like super loud clubs? No, I don't, because I know that's not his thing. And I think, how did I try to change him? Like, I try to make him eat food that he doesn't eat, right? Filipino dishes that he doesn't eat. I'm like, come on, like it's just those things, okay? And then it's like, he's really not gonna eat it because that's not him, or just the way he is. Now, one main thing that when we were talking to like a relationship like counselor, when we were seeing one, and just to be like better communicators with each other, she brought up a good point, like, how you were raised, Mo, and how you were raised, Angelica, like those are two different things. Now that you have a family, the beauty about having your own family is taking all the positives from there and create your own new set of rules or traditions, and don't try to bring your beliefs here, and that's your way or the highway, or you don't try to say that that's wrong, that's not how our kids should be raised, because the way you were raised is wrong, or that's not how we should be with each other, or we shouldn't set rules, or we shouldn't look at each other's phones, all those things. Really, it's you don't need to change anyone. You just need to take the positives and bring it together.
Yeah, that's a nice way of looking at it, really. Building it together instead of like bringing even people bring their baggages from the past and then just harass each other.
Yeah.
Like, you grew up with a very, like a cheating father. Suddenly in your head, like, my spouse is going to be a cheater. And then you're like a crazy, paranoid woman. I asked that question because like you see so much women try to morph themselves into this whole different human being when they start dating somebody. I mean, let's take like Kourtney Kardashian's dating like Travis Barker. And suddenly she's like a edgy, hip girl now. So I don't know. I just see it a lot. Do you notice that too?
So I think what you're saying is like, do you not feel it's authentic? Like that's not how she is, or?
I feel like she wasn't like that in the past. And suddenly, I mean, not just her. She was just an example, but you know how some women just suddenly become like, I love rock and roll too, because they're dating like some rock star, but really, not really,
Pero hindi talaga.
Pero hindi talaga.
Okay, so I didn't used to listen to Coldplay, and then I love Coldplay because, like, if Mo didn't bring me to a Coldplay concert, I wouldn't love Coldplay like as much. So definitely our partners can influence us. Doesn't mean it changed me, right?
Right, yeah.
Now, do I go like, now stop listening to Britney Spears or whoever? No, I don't. It's added to me. So what your partner brings to you that you like, don't let it change you. Just just add that to you. If it's a positive, why are you trying to take out yourself when you can just add and like be even better?
Yeah, I like that. Add to yourself, don't remove. Listen to Britney. I love Britney. That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
I like adding. Like, every time you meet someone, you're gonna get something. Even like with friends, like if you're like a eternally curious person, you'll just get value in like whatever they bring to your life. And then I guess as long as you don't lose, like, if you like Britney and then suddenly you got introduced to Coldplay and then you rejected Britney. Talaga si Britney yung...
Parang nawala si Britney. Parang nawala ka na, di ba? That's my era. So parang nawala ka na. Yeah. Parang mawala ka na. Or maybe you're finding yourself. I don't know. But one of the thing really is, I love the name of your show, right? Thirsty and 30. I think really it's when we are in our 30s, especially mid-30s, we have more of a sense of like what you want, what your goals are, what you really want, like in your career, in your life, with your family. So now I see the value going back, right? When my titos and titas were advising me, sure you want to get married like when you're 22? 22, imagine, right?
Wow.
22? Yeah, no, 23. Yeah, that 23. I got engaged 22, got married 23, had my first child at 24. So it was like
Wow.
that. Yeah. So looking back, parang oo nga no, kasi like the goals like are different. When you're in your mid 30s, and the way like with me and Mo now, he's so sure now of what he wants, right? And before, I don't know if you look at the history maybe like of even listen. The good thing is like his shows I record. Like if you listen to his shows from season 1 and then like the season today, it's so different because parang he's more sure now of what he wants today, and what he wanted before was different. So when you meet someone like in your mid 30s or late 30s, to me must stable na. Kasi you're not like finding like what do I really want. You're like, okay, I really want this, and let's see who's gonna come along with me. You know?
Yeah.
So I love 30 and 30. Like
I'm hopeful.
This is it. This is like so important. Like these 30s. But I can't believe I'm leaving it in 2.5 years. Yeah.
But you look so, again, we're back to your skin. You don't look like you're leaving the 30 zone anytime soon.
Oh, thank you for saying that. But it's all DIY skincare dahil dito sa Amerika, mahal magpaganda. That's what I tell my friends. Dito sa Amerika, mahal magpaganda.
Yeah, here you can just go left and right, whatever, right? I can imagine.
Even
there, and there, every time I'm there, I don't know, because you multiply the price. So you're like, oh my God, everything's so expensive. And then you do the whole the tipping culture. And then I'm like, oh my God, ang mahal. That's
One time, some guy gave in Australia what do you call this? A facial. I don't know if I should be offended, but he gave me a facial as a gift. It was like $300. I was like, what the hell? But I don't know if I was offended that he wanted to fix my pores or something. But
I think maybe it's something he picked up from like his
magazine.
Women friends or family. Now this like women like this, you know.
Yeah, but mahal to get a facial overseas. But I'm now curious, like, because you have amazing skin, and always like even when we did like the beauty queen episode with all like 3 beauty queens, and they were saying nasasawi talaga ang babae, no matter how pretty or what or smart. Have you ever been a doormat? And how do you avoid being?
So define what's a doormat like.
A doormat, like Carrie, you're probably better at this doormat. I'm in denial with being a doormat and stuff.
Yourself to be the reserve. Yung in out lang, and then you take, papayag ka na yung reserved girl. Like, you're abang ka. Abang, is that the right word? Nag-aabang ka lang forever.
Kasi parang, at one point, meron kang yung baliw na baliw ka about that guy, and you're like just waiting on your phone. But I don't think I was like doormat, like waiting long enough. I'm like, shit, like, because I have girlfriends that, like Bea, you have Sierra who's gonna, tell you na, dude, come on, snap out of it. Yung ganon.
Therapy session to. No, I'm not. I'm okay pala.
Okay, but then it's one of those things that, okay, I've had like 3 boyfriends. So I'm probably like the worst person to go to for advice when it comes to like dating, like kasi the dating scene today was not the same as before, although it wasn't a long time ago. It's just because I got married early, and then I've just never been set my mind to like dating. I think one of those things because like I was exposed to a lot of guys when I was young and growing up. So to me it's parang I was just friends, and then if someone clicked, then that's the one, it was that. I never just go out on a date. It was never like, I'm going to get to know you. This is it. I'm going to be a relationship with you. I don't know. It was just like organic for me, I guess. But, just 3 boyfriends, and that includes Mo. So it's hard for me, but in between those, like, period, which is like very short window from my first marriage to my relationship with Mo, because like I felt like I was so new to the dating scene because parang single, like what do I do now, like what the hell, right? And single mom at that. So I was like, okay, like how's the dating scene? And then there was this guy that I really liked, and then we'll be talking on the phone for a long time, and then biglang hindi. You know, I was like, okay, like, did I make myself available too much? Like, long conversations? Is that not how you do it? I thought we clicked. I thought it was like one of those things like, wow, this guy likes to talk a lot. And he actually listens to me. And we had a lot of stuff in common. And I would call him out like, hey, you're a show off. Yung mga ganon, like, natatawa siya sa akin. I thought like he found me like really funny and attractive. And then biglang wala. I was like, what the hell? And I would like overthink it. And I was like, shit, parang isa lang ako dun sa madami niya siguro. Like, you know, baka tama nga. You know what? Forget it. Like, I'm just gonna move on. Like, and at that point, I was like, I was in my 20s, in my late 20s, not even 30s. Like, I was in my late 20s because I got married early. I was in my late 20s. I'm like, you know what? Forget it. I'm not gonna do this anymore. You know?
Yeah.
It's hard because you're like waiting on your phone. You're like trying to distract yourself so that you're not thinking about that guy, you know. But it happened. It happened.
Did you enjoy the dating scene at some point? Did you actually see like the fun in it, or were you always like? I mean, dating is hard. To me, it's like it's a chore. But did you kind of enjoy it?
I never dated. Like I said, like I enjoyed going out. I enjoyed being with friends, and I was always with my girlfriends, and then with guy friends. And then it was like, hey, I'm Kileg. I really like this guy. And then we'll talk. You know, but you know, we'll have dinner, double date. But it was never like one-on-one. And then even with Mo, it was hanging out. It was really hanging out. You know, it wasn't like, yeah. So it wasn't like, I think the first time we were like really dated was like, because it was Valentine's Day and I was flying in New York. Oh my goodness. And like, I remember like canceling like last minute my work commitment kasi nga Valentine's Day in New York. So sige na nga, fine. Like, so I was gonna host like some stuff for Sports 5 and like last minute I canceled and you know they gave it to the other girl that's gonna do it on TV. Like, I was like, forget it. Valentine's Day better. So I was probably like the
Good
first
choice.
like official date namin. I remember on Instagram he posted it, but he didn't even post my face because you know stuff.
Okay.
But it was like, okay, this is like our first official date that's like labeled like romantic because it happens to be like Valentine's. But everything else that we did before that and even now, it's just we're hanging out because we love to travel, we love to go to concerts, we love to do things together. So that's how I guess if that's dating, then that's it. Like there was no pressure for me to go like, this is a date, what do I do? Right? You know, it's more like, okay, we're gonna have dinner tonight. What do I wear? That's it.
Wow. But then that's interesting what you were talking about, that guy who you thought everything was going well and then suddenly gone. Like, you know, it's something that all women go through and it's so painful.
Gago sila, diba?
And then I think you're right. It's like they could be they are texting someone else, or they are seeing someone else, or they change their mind. You know, there's many reasons.
Yeah, like this girl talks too much. I'm never gonna sleep with her. You know, it's one of those, like, yeah. And it's okay. It's okay. Nang ganon. It's just it's hard for us. Like, and I think guys also like don't know how to just like reject you properly. They don't want to hurt your feelings, right? Or maybe they just want to keep you there just in case, you know?
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty. One story that it doesn't make me feel better, but it just shows how universal this is that I met a woman in a writing class, and she was saying that she had an affair. Like, I think her marriage was already, you know, falling apart, or maybe they were separated. I'm not sure. But she had an affair with someone from the States. And it was like this long, intense, like love affair. And I think during COVID, he passed away. And she went to the States to go to the funeral. And when she went to the funeral, she found out that he actually had other women. And can you just imagine, like, it just shows you, no matter how intense a connection is, or whether they go hot or cold, like, you never know if something like that can happen to you, or if they're talking to
Yeah.
someone else. You never know.
You never know
Um,
talaga. Oh my goodness, ang dami na
yeah.
palang girlfriend. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the first time my first boyfriend, I found out he had a dating profile in Badu. I don't know if you guys know Badu, but it was like an online dating site. And iba pa yung pangalan niya, iba pa yung interest niya. I was like, oh my God, like,
How did you find the
what?
profile?
Okay, so it basically, I was away. I was in the Philippines for a family trip. And then I got back, and then he slipped about something, like that he brought someone home. And then I was like, what? It's like, because it's your first, you never really realized that you guys could, he had so much, he was 10 years older than me, so much experience. So I guess it was my first crack of like hearing that you can't fulfill everyone's needs. Like you cannot fulfill that person's every need. Like, and you can't promise loyalty. Like it's hard. And then so I was like, what? You brought someone home here? And then his excuse was like, you were away for so long. And I was like, and then I Googled. I Googled things and I found his profile. I was like, ganun pala. Ganun pala. But it's okay. You learn. You learn and you live, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, I don't know. So I guess maintaining a relationship's hard. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. That's why we have this show, because we don't know.
Yeah.
I think Angelica's also out. The Wi-Fi has been quite the struggle today.
No.
It's
It's like a universal
the bagyo. There. Okay.
in the States.
Hi.
It's global.
Yeah, I know. Like what happened.
It's
But
global.
yeah, so all of the above. So you were saying that so the last I heard was like your boyfriend Thierry was asking like, how did you find out?
Yeah,
Bea,
basically it's he slipped and then I started to Google, and when you Google you get into a dark hole of
yeah.
you just realize, oh, you're capable of so many things. Are you a serial killer? Like, how do I not
never
know this? But yeah, it's a wake up call.
My bestie Marielle one time, the last guy that I was seeing, she was like, Shari, baka serial killer yan. Tama na, he's so shady. I'm like, oh nga, you're right. Tama na nga. Speaking of, before we jump to the last part of our conversation, Angelica, do you believe in the whole online dating thing? Do you advise people to use it to your like single friends?
Shit, buti na lang, hindi na ako single nung lumabas yung online dating kasi I was so trapped.
So weird.
You know, like, thank you, God. But yeah, only because I have a couple of friends that met each other through online dating. Mo, his sister and his sister and her husband, they met online. Now, they're married for over 10 years now, but they met online, maybe not through like online dating, but they met online. So you must old school way pa siguro yun, maybe AOL. I didn't ask. But
YM.
I know, wait, no, sorry. Actually, younger siya a year or two younger kay Mohan. So maybe not AOL. So baka medyo trendy naman. But yeah, I believe, okay, so the online dating is just like another avenue and connecting us with more people, which I think is the beauty of it is you're not limited to now dating the people that's within your like neighborhood. So that's how I see it. Now, treat it the same as we do with dating. Like, be cautious. People can still fool you. They can, it's always best to meet them in person, right? And treat online dating the way you want like other people to treat you, right? So you yourself do your own part, right? If you're online dating because you want a good time, then you know the apps for that, you know the avenues for that. But if you're online dating to say look for the forever, then there's Match.com, there's Coffee Meets Bagel, like all those other stuff, right? And then be authentic. Because like you said, Bea, like for you found a napaka-fake nung ex-boyfriend mo dun sa online. That means he's trying to really like deceive and cheat. So I guess do your own part. Like with anything that you find online, do your research. Don't believe everything you Google, right? Like not everything's online is true. So that's how you're gonna have to be more cautious. But it's the same in person. Bakit ba when you're dating someone, tapos sinabi nila, mabait sila, mayaman sila, doktor sila, single sila, agad-agad ba paniniwalaan mo yun? Hindi, diba? You're still gonna do your due diligence and like do your research. So it's the same.
But
It's just a different platform.
Those kinds of profiles, like I just get a lot of them at the moment on Tinder's not good, but Bumble's better. But on Tinder, I was like,
Tinder's like for sex.
Is it? Okay. Okay. Good
okay. Tinder is a hookup app, really. Like the same with Grindr, right? I know, like, but that's if you're on Tinder and you're thinking like, why are guys like, dude, you're in a hookup app, dating app. Okay. So that's why. Now, has there been a situation where people that hooked up on Tinder found their forever? Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
But know that most of the guys, like your chances to meet guys that are looking for a hookup are very high on Tinder, right? So
yeah. But you know what? I don't know if it's just me. Even Bumble, like when I was still on the app, Bumble, I was like, bakit lahat kayo manyakis? Lahat na ako sa Tinder. I'm on Bumble. But dito manyak, nakakainis. So, I guess the online world is just Maniacville.
I think you have to do like 1 month of Tinder and then go into Bumble and then you appreciate the better maniac.
The people in
the more
Bumble.
subtle maniac. Yeah, because one time on Tinder there was this doctor, like just on paper great, and then suddenly he asked this question like, how do you like to dominate men? I was like, paano tayo napunta dito? You're just talking about your specialty. But I get it. Like we do believe all men have like some level of maniac. It's just dialed
like,
up and down.
Check your profile. Baka may nagpalit ng profile mo, tapos sinabi doon you like dominating.
Dominatrix. You know what's annoying? What's sad pa here in Manila? Because it's so small here, diba? Then so you're on the apps for so long. Suddenly you're matching with the exact same people on Bumble and on Tinder. Now you're on both platforms. You're like, this is space. Wala na, ubos na.
Yeah. I've gone premium.
Yes.
Nagbabayad na si Bea.
Worldwide
na si Bea. You gotta pay for, value now.
I know. Worldwide.
Yes,
You're worldwide.
I believe that. But I don't know, change it up a little bit. Don't limit yourself to that platform. Well, ang hirap kasi ngayon, di ba? Kasi we're COVID. So, paano na gusto na nga ang dating pala. So, balitaan nyo na lang. Like, how do you guys like now date?
I'm not dating around anymore. There's this one boy na lang. But I met him on Bumble also in 2019 pa. And then we just kind of just continued. But he's over there in your side of the world. That's why I'm going to be there in September in the Bay Area.
Nice. If ever you're here in Las Vegas, we'd be happy to meet up with you and your Bumble guy.
I'll harass the both of you, you and Mo. It's like, hi guys.
No harassment. Gusto mo interview ko, di ba?
Oo nga eh. Sabi ni Mo, lahat daw kayo masama mga ugali. Prove him wrong.
Hindi masama ugali, may intention lang. So be prepared when you come here.
I'm prepared, just kidding. Okay. Ikaw ba, anything to add about the dating scene?
Hindi, lumalabas na dito too much na. Okay lang. I'm okay. I'm persisting.
So Angelica, we are down to the third part of our conversation. So again, you hear our frustrations about dating, right? But since let's say nakahook na kami ng lalaki, let's talk about the maintaining the relationship. How do you keep the excitement going? Because it seems like you and Mo have a great dynamic. How do you keep it exciting?
You might argue differently, but and the thing is, it's never enough when it comes to that.
Yeah.
But maybe there are also other things that's never enough for us. So you just try to keep filling the. Oh, it's so cheesy. Okay, you try to keep filling the love tank, right? I don't know. I learned this somewhere or whatever. My love tank kayo that through the day, parang like. Did you do enough for your partner? I think that's how you keep it up. Again, at the end of the day, relationships, it's not a state of being, right? When you're in love, love is not a state of being, really. It's a feeling. And remember, feelings, just like with sadness and happiness, we can control that. We can choose that, right? Even in our darkest days, when we're really, really sad, whether we lost someone or we failed something or whatnot, we can get out of it, diba? So the same goes the other way, like with love too. Like even in the most challenging days, when you're in a certain situation, when you're arguing, when you're not seeing eye to eye, you can flip that. So you can choose to love and not see the negative and just see the positive in the relationship. So I think that's how you keep it healthy, keep it alive. Are you able to do that every day? Hell no. Yeah, I'm able to do that every day. That's why we're people. We're not perfect. So don't put pressure in that. That there has to be like this Instagram worthy relationship. It's not that. Like, maybe we also do that. What you guys see is all the good, but I think like, between them and Mo and I in our podcast, or like when we get opportunities to share like this, we try to really be real and say like, no, it's not that. When in interview ko yung celebrity couple or whatnot, it's like, oh, everything's fine. What am I talking about? No, that's not true.
Yeah.
Trust me. They argue, they fight, they've thrown something at each other, or maybe not throw something at each other, but they're not meeting eye to eye, or
Yes.
So
speaking of fights though, I'm curious because but they always say that fights are healthy. But what are your fighting styles if you had one? Like, how do you handle your arguments well? Why fight talaga? I think it's us. Is it me?
No, I think it would be that person.
So,
Yeah,
Bea, what are your fighting styles? What's your fighting style?
alam mo, dati meron akong temper. I guess it also brought, like, I think your fighting styles, you have one, and then
Mm-mm.
the other person brings it out in you. Like, let's say they have that, you start to copy their fighting style. I think, like, when I
Yeah.
started, I'm the type that I'm not confrontational. And
Mm-mm.
then, like, after a while, it's like, I started to be confrontational. I started to copy that person's, like, aggression. So I don't know about you. Ikaw, masungit ka. Yun yung fighting style mo.
Yun talaga, masama talaga ako. Pero I think, that's true. I think I read somewhere na you tend to really mirror your partner. So, hopefully, like, you mirror the good things, diba? But sometimes you end up mirroring. Oh, there. Angelica's back.
Yeah.
sorry.
Hi.
Yeah. So they were saying that her fighting style a lot of times you're not confrontational, he said.
Yeah, and then you kind of
Oh, yeah.
copy you start to copy a person's fighting style. Like I started to become more confrontational. And I threw something. I was like, "This is not me. I don't throw things." And then, but I guess
Yeah.
if you see it from the
But
other, but I
to
don't
be
know.
But to be
Yeah,
fair to you, if you're like with that partner of yours, if you threw things, he deserved to get bato also. I mean,
yeah, but I
the
don't think it's
reality.
like that's you're just being a good friend. But at the same time, you do what
You
you want
regret it
others to do.
after.
Yeah,
You
yeah. I
probably,
don't
yeah.
think, yeah, you tolerate, like sabi nga ni Ellen Adarna, you tolerate, ano nga yung sinasabi niya? You tolerate you deserve what you tolerate.
You
Ganun ba?
deserve what you
Parang ganun.
tolerate. Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I tolerated a lot. So at the same time, I kind of deserve a lot of things.
No,
Anyways,
I don't think so. I like I get what she's saying.
yeah,
She's a friend of mine, and like I know like what she's gone through. But for you, like I the only part I disagree is that like that it's on you. It's not on you. You didn't deserve it.
yeah,
You didn't tolerate it. You were trying to see the good in that person. You're trying to hope for the better. So don't think of it as a negative. Don't ever put that on you. It's my fault. Kaya ako nandito. No, you tried your best. You tried your best to find the good in that person, to make it work. And you really waited it out. And God bless you for all the patience that you've stretched for that person. And then it was just time for you to walk away, that this person doesn't deserve my love anymore. So don't ever like think of it as a negative thing. Just learn from it.
I agree.
But,
I agree.
this became my therapy session. Thank you so much. But what is your fighting style? I'm curious now. Like,
well, as you can tell, I'm so assertive and talkative. So I have to speak it. I have to speak my truth, like my feelings, what I'm like, everything at that moment, right? But sometimes like I've learned through the years na it doesn't always get like absorbed the way I want it to, because like there has to be a different way. So you'll just learn. And then there was this book from like this couple. They're both like marriage therapists and stuff, and they're pretty quirky, and they're much older. They call this book like Fighting the Good Fight, right?
Yeah.
And then they teach you how like it's okay to fight in relationships. Actually, it's okay to have those arguments, because you will have those arguments. But how you do it, where you come out of it as a better couple, matters on how your style is, and just understanding and knowing and being like more communicative. That because sometimes like what I've noticed, sometimes like if there's something that I'm sharing where, oh, I feel sad, and I was offended, or I got hurt when you said this or that. Yeah. Sometimes I'll see that my husband would think, or he could possibly, I don't know, but sometimes I think like maybe he thinks like I'm telling him that he's done something wrong and that it's his fault or whatnot. So I need to make sure that when I communicate this thing, I need to let him know that, hey babe, I know your intentions were really good and you didn't mean to hurt my feelings, but I got a little hurt when you said this thing. And I just wanted you to know, because I don't want to withhold it, right? And this was just like recently, really, like, I was like, let me try this thing, instead of saying that, ay nako, yung sinabi, like what you said offended me so much, grab it, like, because I know naman that he, like, I know naman, but that takes time, right? That takes also a lot of other fights for you to go, is this worth it? Diba? Like next time around, do I really want to fight about this again? And humbling yourself and choosing when to humble yourself and go like, hey, it's not worth it. Let's not ruin our weekend. Let's not ruin our week. I'm so sorry. I contributed to this like argument. I'm so sorry. Whether or not you both can be right and still be really upset. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not like, there are arguments where walang mananalo, or fine, tama ka nga, but at the end of the day, na-prove mo nga na tama ka, masaya ba kayong dalawa?
Okay, yeah, that's true.
That is actually the two core principles of apology that I think every woman should hear, and men too, both sides. Like, I think what you just said is like, humble yourself, because like it's not good to be right. Like, I don't think you're gonna be happy by being right. It's such a fake happiness. And the second was probably like being able to communicate in a tone that doesn't grate someone's ear.
Because you'll know your partner. Oh, you'll know your partner. You know how they are, and you'll know what will hurt them and what will actually make them feel loved, right? So it's all about tone, choosing your words, and also you mentioned like what was that? The humbling part. Boy, did I not humble myself for a long time. That doesn't come easy for me, because I'm like, women empowerment, feminist, whatever. Snap. Diba? Hindi talaga. But you learn it. Kasi, and I think what pushes you to learn that is shows that that's how much you love this person. It's like, okay, I really want this to work because I really, really love this guy. So, Lord God, please help me.
Help me. Grant me the patience, please.
Exactly. Like, yung perseverance prayer na nakatattoo kay Ellen dito. Like, please, Lord.
Oh my God. We've been wanting to guest her one day. We're going to persist. So this is another question I have about, because people always like advise us like to keep a man interested in a relationship or a marriage, a long-term romance. These are things you have to do. But I think vice versa, because we all believe in women empowerment, is how do we keep ourselves from getting bored with our partner? Because like it's always like keep your man interested. But how about us? Like, we need to be excited too. How do we make sure what are steps you like take to have not just patience, but look at them and be like, oh, I like waking up next to you.
Instead of like, who is this person snoring next to me? Na naman.
Why are you breathing next to me? Yeah.
Okay, so it I always go back, like even when you interviewed us for that article, it's a choice, diba? Um, and then
Yeah.
know that
Yeah.
there has to be growth, and your growth is not dependent on another person, and his growth is not dependent on you. So as long as you allow yourselves to be who, like as long as you allow your partner to be who they are and grow, right? And he or she allows you to be who you are, right? You're just interdependent instead of codependent. So you're
Mhm.
waking up in the morning, happiness, feeling good, has nothing to do with that snoring guy next to you. It all has to
Mhm.
do with you, right?
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I had a good day yesterday. I think I'm going to feel good when I wake up today, right?
Yeah.
So it's that. So never put your partner at the center of your growth. Now,
Mhm.
that doesn't mean they're not important to you, right? That doesn't mean you don't love them. It's just they're with you. And again, that talks about that journey, right? You're holding hands and you're walking towards the same place. That's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, ko na. Gusto ko na yun. One day it will happen. But I guess that is such a great picture that a lot of women and men can look forward to, despite having like a pause in their love lives during the pandemic. And
Mm-hmm.
but during this time, there's a lot of people in perpetually heartbroken states. What
Mm-hmm.
is your advice to those that are perpetually heartbroken? Specifically women, I think.
I
Mm-mm.
think one of the things that we hear from people calling most podcasts a lot too more common is like, but so when you're heartbroken or when you're broken, you can fall in that pit of like dating again or rebounding or whatnot. I think take time to be single for a little bit, right? If you're coming off a relationship or if you're heartbroken for a long time, like if you're heartbroken for a long time, meaning you've been single because you haven't gotten over it, maybe surround yourself with people that will remind you, like your best friends that will remind you that it's gonna be okay. Let's move forward, right? It really depends what the relationship is, but I think it's very important that we focus on ourselves and that the relationships are just part of part of our lives where, and relationships are not limited to marriage, right? We
Mm-mm.
forget that the relationships we build are also friendships. So let's focus on ourselves and let's just be with our friends, and who knows, one day one of those friends will be an even more special friend. That's what it really is.
Yeah. I like that. That advice actually kind of reminds me of what Divine Lee said to us also, her advice to the perpetually heartbroken: never rebound. Because when you start rebounding and jumping
Hmm.
into the next relationship, you just look for the qualities that the person lacked. That's not really the qualities
Yeah,
that you look for, it's the qualities that your ex didn't have. So,
yeah,
again,
Yeah.
and
yeah,
focus on your other ships, not just your
yeah,
romantic relationships.
yeah.
The other
That's
ships
funny.
are there
Yeah,
too.
she was my first boss, by the way. So yeah,
Divine,
What?
yeah,
she is
yeah,
fun. She is so fun.
yeah. Super fun. She taught me a lot. Also, like, yeah,
Yeah,
And
she
yeah.
should talk
honesty
us a
as
lot.
well. Like it's so rare to meet, I think, women and men that they just say it. They just say what they think.
Mm-mm.
Oh yes, yes, and like she is one of those people too. And I remember, like, she's probably just 2 years older than me, not so much, but she would
Yeah.
really say it how it is, and she would like parang advise me before, wag ganyan, ganito, ganyan. Yeah, girl, I
Yeah.
remember. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
she
can
she
imagine the
she yeah.
She is super fun. So, Angelica, again, thank you so much for joining our show. We have one last question, which is personally Bea's favorite question, and I also do love this question. We are a show about love. So, Angelica, in your own words, what is love?
Oh my goodness. Love is whatever you choose it to be. Really, it's
Huh?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I
yeah.
like that.
I
I
think
like that.
it's up to you to decide what love is, but also be mindful that your version of love will not always be someone else's version of love, and that's, I think, where the conflict really happens, or when you don't meet eye to eye, right? So open communication and knowing what you want and what love is for you, which also really based on our history, how we were raised, right? Plays a big role in that. And then what we see. There's like from the past, and then there's like what we see today, right? That will really dictate what your future will be. It's kind of fucked up, right? But yeah. So yeah. And for me, love is something, and love comes in different forms, right? Love, like for me, for my kids, like it's just something like I can't even explain. Like I can't breathe. Like think like for me, like my life is like for them, you know. And then my love, like with Mo, is just something like that I choose to be with him. Like he makes me happy, and I hope I also make him happy, and I add to the quality of his life. Really, that's what it is. Yeah,
that's nice. I love it. This conversation is as refreshing as your complexion, I have to say. I like it. I'm distracted. Do you have like a light in front? You're glowing.
Well,
I know we had the topic about egg freezing. Medyo natopa kami ni Bea, nag-panic kami. Kasi like, they say when you, after 30, basically, after 35, basically century eggs or something. No, that's dramatic, but it's just not as great anymore. It starts going downhill.
Biologically, because your eggs age too, so you know more complications can, not guaranteed, can come from an older egg. So you freeze it so they stay young. Like if we can just freeze our
freeze our collagen.
But
hence both talks. Let's get back on it, Shari. Labal ko yung sarili ko.
Have fun in your Napa reunion. I'm
yes.
Hopefully it goes well.
I'm so excited. Yeah. Our high school group chat have all these funny memes of what it could be like, but I bet you I'll be the first one snoring in bed too. But but it's fun. It's fun to have those moments with your girlfriends, really. So embrace that, because once you step into, if that is part of what you want your life to be like, once you have kids, trust me, like. And remember, those kids didn't choose to be here. You chose for them to be here, so you better give your whole life to those kids.
That's
so
true.
So before you make that choice, be really, really sure that you want to have kids.
I'm super sure.
1 year.
Labo, I'm super sure. She needs a sister, a human sister.
Her official co-host. Doesn't say anything.
Georgia, say hi to Angelicas. Georgia.
Georgia, napaka-social naman.
Look at her. So, Bea, I enjoyed our conversation today with Angelika. Tell me, what did you learn in our episode today?
I always get like really shocked when you ask me this because there's so much, but I think the number one thing I did pick up from Angelika is really don't always be available. Always work on yourself and make yourself a priority, and that everything you do is a choice. A choice of who you like, who you date, who you love, and who you're gonna choose to work on. And I think it should be you, number one. How about you, Shari?
I agree. I think I did like that also, but I think my favorite part was early on when we talked about making lists and how people tend to make lists about what they want in their romantic partner, what they want to, whatever, tall, handsome, whatever it is, right? But I feel like more importantly is you make a list for yourself. And at the end of the day, who really is the most important person in your life? It should be you. So if you do good and if you succeed, then somebody's bound to just get on in the same trajectory, right? That's my favorite.
Basically, hitchhike to success or a beautiful life.
Hitchhike talagang sobrang jaded eh. He's gonna hitchhike his way to my stardom.
Hope you enjoyed the conversation as well, and please send us some messages on Thirsty and 30 socials and Instagram if you learned something or you have a question to clarify. And of course, check out our podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever podcasts are available, Thirsty and 30, and follow us so you don't miss an episode because we're always coming out with content. And lastly, check out our website as well, thirstyand30.club, and submit your love problems and successes. And one last pahabol. Subscribe to our newsletter,
Please.
thirsty
Oh.
and 30 thirsty30.substack.com, so you get some love advice from us.
And my pahabol is please don't forget to click subscribe right down there. We'd really appreciate it. So stay thirsty, everybody. We'll see you next week.